Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to see the stanza-wise explanation of chapter 4. Last day we discussed about the main themes of the poem and also about the main points of the poem. Today we will see the poem in detail. The poem referring to the famous battle of Blenheim fought in 1704 condemns blind patriotism and castigates all wars which only bring out horror, death, and destruction. Written as a ballad, it tells us about the war fought at Blenheim in which the English, under the command of the Duke of Marlborough, won a grand victory. This poem is placing closely all the opposite viewpoints. It effectively conveys the horrors of all wars. The poem opens on a scene of a summer evening. The old man Caspar was sitting in the sun before his cottage door. His granddaughter Wilhelmine was playing beside him in the green grass. Her brother Peterkin brought home a large round thing he had found while playing near a revolt. He wanted to know what that thing was. The old man saw it and said that it was the skull of some man who must have been killed in the great victory of Blenheim. He added that thousands of men were killed in the battle and that their skulls lay buried around everywhere there. The children wanted to know about the war fought at Blenheim. They were eager to know why it was fought. Caspar was puzzled and said that he only knew that the English defeated the French badly and that it was a famous victory. His father lived at Blenheim during the war. His own house was brought down and he had to flee with his family. He had no place to take shelter. The war caused widespread ruin and destruction in every part of the country. A large number of men, women, and children were killed. After the battle was won, dead bodies were found rotting everywhere. It was a shocking sight. Caspar, however, said that such things do happen in the war. People praised the Duke of Marlborough and the Prince Eugene for having a grand victory. The granddaughter of old Caspar, the little girl, could not help saying that the war was nothing but a wicked thing. Her grandfather, however, tried to correct her, saying with a half conviction that it was a famous victory. He again repeated what he had said about the people's enthusiastic praise about the war and about the victory and their praise of the English commandos. Little Perkin wanted to know what could come out of the war. The grandfather had no other word to say but that it was a famous victory. The repetition of the old man's words built up the ironic climax. We can feel that there was no logical reason for something as ruinous and destructive as war. So dear students, this entire poem is about the war that took place in Blenheim in 1704. There are three characters for this poem. First one is old Caspar, the second one is Peterkin, and the last one is Wilhelmine. The poem is open to a scene of summer evening. There old Caspar is sitting in front of his cottage door. His grandchildren are playing beside him in the green grass. Old Caspar's grandchild, Peterkin, brought home a large round thing that he had found while he was playing near a revolt. He wanted to know what this thing is. The old man looked at it and said that it was a skull of some man who must have been killed during the time of that war. The old man added to his speech that thousands of men were killed in that battle and that their skulls lay buried around everywhere there. That time, both of the grandchildren are becoming more eager and they wanted to know about the war fought at Blenheim. They eagerly waited to get an answer for why it was fought. When grandchildren asked this question, Caspar was unable to answer them, and he said that he only knew that the English defeated the French badly and that was a famous victory. Old Caspar explained about his knowledge about that war. Caspar's father built at Blenheim during the war. His own house was brought down during the war, and he had to flee with his family. He had no any other place to take shelter. The war caused widespread ruin and destruction in every part of the country. A large number of men, women, and children were killed. This is what our old Caspar know about the war, but he repeatedly said that it was a grand victory. Caspar continued his explanation about the war. After the battle was won, dead bodies were found rotten everywhere. It was a shocking sight. And he said, such things do happen in the war. He said about the people's enthusiastic praise towards the leaders, those who had a hard work to give that grand victory. The little girl, by listening to all the explanation of old Caspar, said that the war was nothing but a rigged thing. But her grandfather tried to correct her by saying that it was a famous victory. He again and again praised the English commanders for bringing a grand famous victory. Little Peterkin wants to know, what good come out of the war? The grandfather was answerless, and he said it was a famous victory. This poem is mainly discussing about the horror of war and the generation gap. Stanza-wise explanation of the poem we will see in the next class. Thank you.